Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and welcome to the French Seams. Thank you very much for joining me for today's video. This is something slightly different today. This is 20 sewing questions. So this is a hashtag that I first came across on Erin from Erin Sews vlog. I'll link it down below. But it was actually come up with by the lovely Annette from Sewing in Michigan. So thank you very, very much, Annette. Again, I'll link her channel down below. It's a really fun hashtag of 20 questions for sewists that really made me think, and I've been really having fun thinking about the answers to all the questions. So thank you very much, Annette, for the hashtag, and thank you, Erin, for drawing my attention to it. So there's 20 questions. We should get started. So question 1, how do you feel about using a new pattern? So I really enjoy it. So I have an awful lot of tried and tested patterns. I really do, but I really enjoy finding new sewing patterns, and I also love finding new pattern companies. So I get a lot of inspiration from Instagram, from YouTube, and then if I'm trying to find a new pattern, I often look to the Fold line, which is a fabulous database of all kinds of different patterns, and it has wonderful search facilities, all that good stuff. So finding a new sewing pattern is great, but obviously it does come with certain trepidation, because do you have to grade it? What's their block like? I'm quite tall, I'm 5'9", so sometimes I do have to add length to patterns. I usually have to grade, between bust, waist and hips, all that good stuff. So you do have to be a little bit careful. Look at the finished garment measurements, see what their block is drafted for, but I really do enjoy finding a new pattern. And then of course, once you find a new pattern in a new company, of course, then you look at all the rest of their patterns, you end up buying their whole catalogue, the usual. So I do really enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I do have my tried and true patterns that I make again and again, but it is lovely to try something new as well. So question 2, do you remake or mend? So as regards to mending, I think we're all guilty of having a little mending pile in our sewing room, a button that's come off, a zip that's gone awry, something that needs hemming. I do have a few of those and I do get to them eventually, but it's definitely not my favourite thing to do, and I do try to actively avoid it. In the remake category, if something has gone wrong, if I've made a dress and it's gone wrong, I'll hopefully make it into a top, something like that. But this question is actually very timely, because myself and my very lovely friends Catherine Silverton Makery and Sam Sew Let's Sparkle with Sam are hosting a challenge next month in September called Sew Phoenix September 25, and it's basically all about remaking. So you take a make from your past, be it 40 years ago or last year, and something that you would like to remake now based on all the knowledge and the skills and experience that you now have. So it's basically a phoenix rising from the ashes. So I certainly do have a few that I'd like to remake, and if you stay tuned, I will have them for you over the next few months. But this question was incredibly timely, and yes, I will certainly be remaking things. I'll link all the details on that challenge down below. So that was a great question. Question 3, do you do toiles or mock-ups? So basically it's a version of your new pattern, be it in scrap fabric or a fabric that you can make a wearable toile. It basically means to check the fit. So as a general rule, no, I don't. I usually just plough straight ahead into my fashion fabric. I have done toiles in the past, yes. I did a toile recently for the Style Arc bell dress because I had heard things about the fit and about the instructions. I wanted to test that out, and I've certainly made toiles for more fancy occasions like frock tails, where I didn't really want to cut into my fabric because it was probably a little bit more precious at the time. So I have done toiles. I don't like doing toiles. I don't really make wearable toiles just because I don't have spare fabric to do that. And yeah, sometimes it has worked out quite badly that I've gone straight into the fashion fabric, but you live and you learn. If there's any very new techniques in the project, I will do that first on a scrap piece of fabric, but not necessarily the whole garment. So I do think it's important in some instances. But for most of us, sewing time is precious, and I'm just happy just to plough straight on and really fingers crossed and hope for the best. But I do think toiles definitely have their place, and they are very important. And the times I have done them, I've been very grateful. So I should really practice what I preach, shouldn't I? So question 4, how do you feel about pre-washing fabric? So I feel very strongly about this. So for a lot of these questions, I'm kind of in the middle, kind of a yes and no type situation. I am very definite in pre-washing fabric. There's a number of reasons you should pre-wash. One, for shrinkage, because sometimes, especially with natural fibres, they tend to shrink. And if you've bought a certain amount of fabric, you certainly don't want to end up with less when you want to cut out your garment. The second reason then can be to get rid of anything on the fabric, be it chemicals or dyes or anything that's been in the factory where it's been made. The third reason, and I think the most important, and really the reason that I do it, is for colour running. So I have come a cropper with this on a number of occasions. I'll pop in my favourite one here. So I use colour catchers, basically those little sheets that you put in the wash to catch all the colour or the dye if it runs. And this one was fabulous. This was just on a striped blue and white linen, and the colour of the colour catcher came out the most spectacular blue. I was so delighted I had put in a colour catcher and washed that fabric separately. So that's the main reason I do it, because I tend to wash my fabric in the exact same manner I'm going to wash my garment. Basically, the entire family washing gets put in the washing machine all in one go. I do them all at 30, and that's that. People probably come at me for this. I don't tend to separate my washing, and just everything goes in. We don't own a tumble dryer, so everything gets line washed or hung out, line dried or hung out to dry, but everything gets washed the same way. So that's how I treat my fabric. But yes, it's more for the colour that I pre-wash. I've never experienced buying a amount of fabric and then not having enough when I've come to cut it out. That's never happened to me, but I definitely have fallen foul of the colour running for sure. And you definitely don't want to ruin your lovely new garment or anything else in your wardrobe after you've made said garment. So that's the one I'm very, very strong about. So question 5, how do you finish your seams and how? So based on the name of my channel, I should really say that I French seam everything. Do I in reality? No, of course not. I do French seam sometimes. I think it's an absolutely beautiful finish. Basically, it's when you sew the fabric together, wrong sides together. First do a seam, then trim that seam, and then fold the fabric right sides together and sew that seam again so the whole seam is enclosed. It gives a beautiful, beautiful finish. And I've done it on very, very lightweight fabrics. I've done it on sheer fabrics, and I've done it on very delicate fabrics. But you have to sew each seam twice and press it. It comes with a certain amount of extra work. So 99% I overlock the edges. I have an overlocker here that Mr. French Seams very kindly bought me 8 years ago. It's a Singer. It was from Lidl. It was as cheap as chips, and it's lasted very, very well. I have changed the blade. I say we, the royal we. Mr. French Seams has changed the blade once, and it's always worked perfectly for me. I just get threads again from Lidl or Aldi. They always work beautifully, and I love my overlocker. You don't necessarily have to have an overlocker to sew. No, of course you don't, but it will really, really help, and it'll definitely up your sewing game, especially if you're sewing knits. But of course I do overlock the edges of my woven garments as well, so I wouldn't be without my overlocker. When I first started sewing, I didn't finish my edges, or I used the pinking shears, which I don't think particularly works very well, or I just do a zigzag stitch over the edge of the fabric, which again has worked very, very well. But definitely the overlocker for me is the only way to finish my seams for sure. Although in saying that, the garments I made pre-overlocker have still lasted perfectly well, but I think it gives a really nice finish, and of course you can make something really, really quick, whiz it through the overlocker and you're done. I'm very guilty of using the overlocker as a sewing machine to sew garments, as opposed to sewing the seam first and then using the overlocker. I won't tell if you won't. Anyway, moving on to question 6. What is your favourite sewing activity? So I think I have a couple here. Weirdly, I love setting in sleeves. I think it is so satisfying. A little bit of gathering maybe at the head of the sleeve, then setting it in, and it's really an opportunity to have your flat piece of fabric and you mould it to make it 3D. I think it's just magic. I really, really enjoy setting in sleeves. I like doing maybe a slightly more balloon sleeve with lots and lots of gathering. I think gives a wonderful effect. Or if you're just setting in even a raglan sleeve with straight seams, I think seeing something 2D come to something 3D is just magical. It really, really is. I love choosing a label for my garments, which I think we'll move on to later. That's one of my favourite parts as well. And of course, sewing that first seam where you're very excited about your new project. You can't wait to see what's going to happen. So that those ones are really, really special for me, definitely. Question 7, my least favourite. Of course, we had to have the counters at. I hate cutting out. I really hate cutting out. It's such a palaver. I cut out downstairs on the sitting room floor, so it's obviously on the floor. That's not terribly nice on your poor old back. I've always said that in the cutting out stage, if you mess up the cutting out, no amount of perfect sewing will help you come back from that. So if you cut out the wrong size, or if you want to do the long skirt and you cut out the short skirt, or if you want to grade and you forget to grade, or you clip it, or whatever happens, if you mess up at that stage, you're just setting yourselves up for disaster later in the sewing process. So I think cutting is so important, and that's why I find it super stressful. I really, really don't like cutting out. The other things I don't particularly like doing are hemming, because it comes at the end and you're really excited to wear your new garment, and inevitably, something might have gone awry, that they don't match, or you have to wait a day to level out the hem of your beautiful new dress. And sometimes I'll be sewing dresses and there's just acres and acres and acres of hem to do and everything. So that's probably my least favourite of it. I think you just want to wear your beautiful new garments. So I'm not a huge fan of hemming, but anyway, they're my least favourite sewing tasks anyway. Of course, if I have to get the unpicker out, that's never good as well. So question 8, stash fabric or new fabric? So in my case, it's by and large new fabric because I do not have a large stash. I usually buy fabric to match a pattern or buy a pattern to match fabric that I have just bought. I do them basically in parallel. So I do have a little tiny scrap stash that I love doing little crafty projects with, but I have a very, very small actual dressmaking stash. So I do enjoy getting new fabric. I think about fabric an awful lot. I go to my favourite fabric shops. I have a look at what they're offering. There are different varieties of different colours. It's just wonderful. And then of course I have to work out what pattern I want to do with it, and then work out how much yardage, how wide it is, all that good stuff. So for me, it's definitely the joy of buying new fabric, which of course I really, really enjoy. And I pre-wash. Question 9, are pockets a must? Yes, absolutely. Unless I'm wearing a bodycon dress, the chances of that are non-existent, so that's never going to happen. So yes, I adore a pocket, be it just to put my hands in to look really cool, to carry all the stuff that my little boys give me that they find out and about, usually a little car or a dinky, something like that. Generally, I'm running in and out of the house with a phone and a set of keys, and I can just put them in my pockets. It's really, really handy. I know in women's garments you don't often have pockets, which drives me nuts in ready to wear. Oh, you might have a bag, you might have this, that, whatever. Generally, I don't. If I'm going to a wedding and I have a matching clutch bag and I want to keep the line of my dress, maybe I might leave off pockets, but 99% of the time I will have a pocket or two or several. I do have a Friday Sews video, which I will link up here and down below, where I mention how I alter my side seam pockets to meet the waistline, which makes them much, much more secure, which means I can put my phone and a set of keys into my pocket without the risk of anything running awry. But yes, I'm a big pocket fan, and I will certainly look for them if they're not there. Question 10, knits or wovens? This is quite interesting. So I think I go through phases. This summer I've gone through a massive woven phase. I've been making an awful lot of woven dresses, woven blouses, woven shirts, woven trousers. Maybe last summer I think I went through a massive knit phase. I was making t-shirts and sweaters and joggers all the time. So it comes in peaks and troughs for me, definitely. I do love sewing with both. I really, really enjoy sewing with knits. Again, I have the overlocker, which makes it slightly easier. I make an awful lot of stuff for my two little boys, and they're all in knits as well. So I do enjoy sewing with knits, but I think recently wovens have been really, really useful. And of course, I do love a floaty dress. Question 11, favourite fasteners or no fasteners? So I love a pull over the top. So the top I'm wearing today, it's a nocturne top by Still Liberated. You can just pull it on over your head. I do enjoy a dress that you can pull over your head because it's got a v-neck or it's got shearing that you can just pull it on. I'm very guilty of if the dress has a button placket and I can pull it on over my head, it's not getting any buttons or buttonholes, because I should have said that actually in my least favourite sewing activity. I do not like buttonholes. My machine is wonderful, I will grant you. It's not great at buttonholes. It really isn't. Your test buttonhole will be marvellous. The first buttonhole you do will be great. The second one, which is generally centre front, will completely not work. It'll be an utter disaster. So I've just stopped doing buttonholes if I can help it at all. I don't like sewing buttons on by hand. Again, my machine, you could do something clever with dropping the feed dogs and zigzag and all that, but generally it wouldn't like that. I sew them on by hand, then my buttons never match my buttonholes, and it's just not good. I do enjoy a zip. I don't really mind putting in a zip at all. I think I quite enjoy it. I do really love the look of at the back of a garment with a little loop and a little button, a little keyhole opening. I think that looks really, really pretty, except I've got long hair and the button always gets caught in my hair. So unless it's a fancy occasion where I have my hair up, that's not really practical. So I would have to say no fastenings, or I would have to say a zip. I do love an invisible zip. I got an invisible zip foot last year and it works really, really well. So I do like an invisible zip, but generally if I can pull it on over my head, I'll be doing that. Next question, question 12, sewing for self or others. So by and large, it's sewing for myself. I do, of course, sew for my two little boys. I love sewing for them and they're wonderful customers and clients. They're quite discerning, but they usually enjoy what I make for them. I really don't like the term selfish sewist. I really don't. I don't think having a hobby and making things isn't anywhere selfish. It's time for you to be creative, and I really don't like that term selfish sewing, but that's just me. I've learned over the years the hard way that you should sew for the people who appreciate it and don't sew for the people who don't appreciate it. Just buy them something. It'll make life so much easier for everybody involved. So I do sew for very close family and very close friends. That's all. Everybody else is getting shop bought items. But I do love sewing for others. The A Gift to November challenge, which happens every November, make all your holiday gifts for people. I love that challenge because I love gifting at Christmas. And again, I do make things for my 2 boys and my husband as well. And the house gets gifts as well. But by and large, it's mainly for me and I just love it. But that's just me. But I'd be interested to see in the comment box below what you think about that question. Question 13, YouTube or Instagram? So I'm here on YouTube. I absolutely love it. So I do love both. I get huge inspiration from both, from seeing vloggers on YouTube and also seeing people over on Instagram. Wonderful, wonderful inspiration. It's a fabulous community. It's very quick Instagram. You can pop up a picture. People will give you feedback. If you have any problems, people are wonderful about helping you through your problems. So I would think there's probably time for both. YouTube is more kind of interactive, I suppose. You can do tutorials, you can show things in real time, but Instagram with static pictures and of course the reels are really good fun. So I think there's probably time for both. So that's probably one of the questions where I will say both for sure. Question 14, dresses or separates? So definitely this year has been dresses. So I'll pop a link up here where I did 10 days, 10 dresses. The summer in Dublin this year has been very, very warm. It's been wonderful. So I have had an opportunity to wear all my lovely dresses, which I'm really, really enjoying. Before that, I would have definitely been separates. But with my separates, I only have a certain amount of me-made trousers. So the ones I'm wearing today are the Helen's Closet Argent pants, which I love. And as I mentioned, this is So Liberated Nocturne top. This year, however, I've made 2 pairs of sepia trousers from Closet Core. So that has been wonderful because that's meant I'd be able to wear me-made trousers and me-made t-shirt. So I think I'm getting more into the separates because now I'm making more trousers. I have made jeans as well. I made jeans late last summer, which is really good fun. But I've been wearing an awful lot of me-made tops, but then of course I have to wear ready-to-wear trousers and stuff. But now I'm loving wearing an entire me-made outfit. So again, separates I do enjoy. Dresses I'm getting really into, and I'm seeing now that I can wear dresses both in the summer and then layer them up to wear in the autumn and winter as well, which is great. So again, annoyingly, that's going to be a category of like, yeah, probably I do love sewing both, but that's it. Question 15, how do you get rid of or pass on me makes? So confession, I've never actually passed on a me made. So I don't know of any shops local to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that will take me made items. Because I sew for myself and because I usually have to make an awful lot of alterations because of my height, because of the grading, it'd be very, very difficult to tell somebody this is a size, whatever. So generally I hold on to my me mades, even ones that don't tend to fit very, very well. I tend to hold on to them because don't we all? Oh, we'll fit back into that sometime. Or I repurpose them. So I turn it into a garment for my boys, or if it's cotton, I'll turn it into a bag or some patchwork, that kind of stuff. So I've never actually passed on or got rid of my May-Maids. I've kind of repurposed them, but I'd be interested again to see what you feel about that question. Question 16, quick sew or involved sew? And I think I probably do one of the other. I do love an involved sew. I get everything laid out. I love doing that. I get all my notions, get all my overlocker set up, all my threads, all my needles, all that stuff, everything in my project bags, get it all sorted, and then spend a few days doing it. However, I'm quite a quick sewist, so I love a project where I can cut it out and sew it and have it finished generally that evening. I generally do my sewing in the evening. So I will have everything ready to go. If it's an involved thing, it spills out into a few more days, which kind of stresses me out because I'm very much, let's start this and let's finish it. If it takes days and days and days, I kind of get a little bit frustrated with that. But if it's a very involved project, again, like say a frock tails dress or a coat or a jacket, I will take my time and do it over a number of days. But yeah, I'm maybe I should say so a quick sew because I like doing things quickly, and probably with the involved sews, I'll probably try and do it quickly anyway. Question 17, social or solitary? So I would probably say I'm usually a solitary sewist just because I'm here and I sew in my little room, which I love. I am starting to go to a few more social outings, so going to a friend's house to sew for a day, which is marvellous. I've been to a few sewing retreats, which are absolutely amazing. Maybe a few social days, which are wonderful. So you do spend an awful lot of time chatting. The actual output of sewing probably minimal, but it's just wonderful to chat to other people, see what people are doing, get people's advice. It's just a lovely way to spend a day. I think one of the reasons I probably started this YouTube channel was because I sewed by myself. It was during COVID, everybody did. But because I'm genuinely sewing on my own here, this is a fabulous outlet that I can talk to you all, because my husband really isn't that fussed. So it's wonderful to talk to you all about my sewing journey and of course get your feedback in return as well. So it probably is more solitary, although I'm trying to get more into the social side. But of course this YouTube is of course my social outlet, which I love. Question 18, we're getting there. Do you have a dedicated space? Yes, I do, and I'm very happy. I'm exceedingly lucky to have this space. This used to be the nursery when my boys were small, and it's now too small for a bed, so it's become my sewing room / office, which I'm very lucky to have. So it's quite small. You can see this is one wall, this is another wall, quite small, quite tight. I have my sewing machine here. This is my overlocker right here. All my sewing notions are in here and up here, and I've got a few shelves up here as well. And I'm very lucky to have it, and it's just my special room. I just love it. So I come in here and all the worries are gone. I do warn my boys obviously coming in here because everything is generally hot and sharp, so they know never to come into my sewing room. But I'm very lucky to have this space to call my own. And of course, if I'm working on something, I can leave it here, leave everything, close the door, and then come back to it, which is wonderful. Question 19, labels or no? Yes, absolutely a label. I absolutely love sewing labels. It's one of the things I love. So I look at the fabric, look at where I want to put a label, choose. The labels are in one of my little drawers here. I choose what label will be suitable, where I'm going to put it. Is it going to be in the side seam? Is it going to be on the hem? Is it going to be on the neckline? Is it going to be on the sleeve? I love it, absolutely love it. So I get an awful lot of labels from Little Rosy Cheeks, from Specky Seamstress, from Cozy Club Handmade, and then when I'm at shows I pick up various ones as well. But I love labels, and everywhere I go I pick up a label. I just love them. I really enjoy them. I know some people find them quite tricky, sensory, that kind of thing, so that's why I put them on the outside of my garment usually, but also I think they're too pretty to hide in the inside, which is why I love putting labels on the outside. I do a little satin stitch, which makes them nice and soft. Got that trick from my lovely friend Sam, So Let's Sparkle. I just love a sewing label. I really do. Question 20, we made it to the end. Percentage of me made versus ready to wear. I would say we're getting to about 80-90%. I really do. I do have a number of ready-to-wear items and they kind of get pushed to the back of the wardrobe, but I don't really have the heart to throw them away just yet. I do wear them usually, sometimes, but usually I am in me-made, which I just love. So I'll have me-made trousers, as I mentioned, me-made dress, me-made top, me-made sweatshirt, me-made jacket, me-made bag, the works. And now I find, because people know that I do so, if I do wear something, they will always assume that I made it. And if I didn't make it, I would say, oh no, actually I bought it in a shop. It's become a very strange situation. So I would say I'm getting towards fully me made. There are things obviously that I still don't make, but I do rely heavily on the stuff that I make as well. And I've recently started a knitting adventure, so now I can knit my own socks. So that I would say, yeah, I'm getting towards, I'm not at 100%, and I don't think I'll ever get to 100%, but it's getting up there, 80 or 90% for sure. So that comes to the end of the 20 questions. Thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you enjoyed it. It's probably going to be about 20 minutes long, which is quite nice. I would love to hear your answers to some of the questions below. Thank you very much, Annette, for this wonderful hashtag. It's been so much fun. It really has. Thank you very much, and very thought-provoking as well. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I would very much love it if you give me a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. I had great fun making this vlog and I really appreciate you watching it. Thank you very much. I hope you all have some time for some lovely sewing, and I will talk to you all again very soon in another video. Take care, everyone. Bye.